Have you ever been near someone whose very presence zaps your energy, twists your emotions, and leaves a trail of confusion and chaos behind? Imagine spending time with someone who smiles to your face, but subtly pulls the strings of your mind, making you question your own reality. It sounds like something out of a thriller, but unfortunately, this kind of evil isn't just fiction or myth. It's real, it's around us, and often it hides in plain sight. But don't worry. Armed with awareness, you can learn to recognize the signs and protect yourself from these toxic influences. Evil doesn't announce itself with horns or growling voices. Instead, it wears a mask of charm while its actions betray its true nature. Such people manipulate, destroy, and exploit your kindness to serve their own selfish goals. The good news? You don't need to be a detective or psychic to spot them. In fact, ancient Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius left us timeless wisdom on how to identify such destructive individuals and guard our peace. In this video, I'll reveal 10 undeniable signs that you're dealing with a truly toxic person, signs you cannot afford to ignore. These insights will empower you to protect your energy, maintain your inner calm, and navigate life with sharper clarity and confidence. Ready to uncover the truth behind these warning signs? Let's dive in. Number 1. Constant manipulation. Seneca once warned, "He who has many fears also has many things to manipulate." This is more than just a quote. It's a powerful truth about how manipulation works in the hands of those with malicious intent. Such people don't thrive on honesty or integrity. Instead, they flourish by twisting reality, turning lies into their sharpest weapons. Let me share a personal story. I once worked closely with a colleague I initially trusted. He was charming, skillful at praising me in public, making me feel seen and appreciated. But behind the scenes, he was weaving a web of subtle lies, undermining my work, turning small mistakes into mountains in front of management. When I finally confronted him, he smiled calmly and said he was only trying to help me improve. That moment, it shook me. Was I really doing something wrong? I began doubting my own abilities. Indeed, reality, he wasn't helping at all. He was creating dependence, making me feel I needed his guidance to succeed. This is how manipulation works. It doesn't just confuse you, it erodes your self-confidence bit by bit. Manipulators don't build relationships on trust or honesty. They prey on your insecurities to control you. They convince you that only they understand you, that only they can lead you. Stoic philosophy teaches us that the antidote to this dark game is clarity and self-control. A genuinely virtuous person encourages your independence, your freedom to make your own choices, not entangles you in their control. So if someone in your life constantly pressures you to follow their lead, dismissing your boundaries or personal autonomy, it's a clear warning sign. Building on the first sign about manipulation, let's now explore the second sign, the mask of charm that toxic people often wear to hide their true nature. Remember the wise words of the Stoic Emperor Titus, "No man is free who is not master of himself." By refusing to play their manipulation games, you reclaim control over your thoughts, actions, and decisions. Mental clarity and self-awareness are the antidotes to their toxic influence. You don't need to argue or prove yourself. Just step out of their manipulation and hold on to your freedom. Now the second sign, the mask of charm. Titus once reminded us that appearances, no matter how dazzling, often conceal the truth beneath. Have you ever met someone whose charm seemed almost too perfect, like a scene straight out of a movie? Their radiant smile, soothing words, and ability to make you feel special, it all seems like a flawless performance. But if you take a step back and look closer, you may realize that behind that facade lies a motive far from genuine. When used sincerely, charm is a wonderful thing. It connects people, builds trust, and creates meaningful relationships. But in the hands of those with darker intentions, charm becomes a dangerous weapon. They know how to capture your heart, disarm you with carefully crafted words, and present themselves as the friend you've always sought, the perfect partner, or even a trusted mentor. Yet their charm is hollow, like a shiny shell hiding a bitter truth. Marcus Aurelius warned that the soul takes on the color of its thoughts. These individuals don't just manipulate, they use charm as a mask to conceal their true nature: selfishness, deceit, and manipulation. Watch how they behave when no one is watching. How do they treat those who offer them no benefit? Words can be beautifully decorated, but actions reveal the truest picture of character. I once knew a friend who had an uncanny ability to make everyone feel adored. He showered people with compliments, making them believe they were genuinely special to him. But over time I realized he wasn't who he appeared to be. His praise was calculated, a tool to extract something in return. When there was nothing left to gain, he quickly distanced himself and often badmouthed those he once flattered. So how do you break free from their enchantment? Don't ignore the subtle warnings from your gut. If you feel charmed but uneasy, trust that instinct. These manipulators rely on your willingness to overlook the red flags and believe in the illusion they've created. Stoic philosophy teaches us that truth needs no mask. Genuine kindness shines on its own without pretense. So step beyond the glittering surface and seek the truth beneath. Authentic goodness doesn't need a disguise. Continuing from the previous sign, the mask of charm, let's move on to the third sign: lying without conscience. Deceptive people constantly try to control the narrative with intricate lies, which require them to keep adding new layers of deceit to cover up the old ones. But this is precisely their Achilles heel. Truth is resilient and requires no maintenance, while lies are fragile and can unravel at any moment. To protect yourself, pay close attention to inconsistencies. Do their stories shift when questioned? Are their actions truly aligned with their words? Stoic philosophy teaches us to focus on actions because they reflect a person's true character most clearly. When you notice a mismatch between what someone says and what they do, trust your observations more than their claims. Don't hesitate to ask questions, demand transparency, and most importantly, set boundaries. Honesty is not only the foundation of relationships, but also a mirror reflecting integrity. If dishonesty persists, don't be afraid to walk away. Stoicism reminds us that real strength lies in mastering ourselves and distancing from anything that undermines our values and inner peace. So next time you meet someone who lies without conscience, stand your ground, focus on their actions, and safeguard yourself against their web of deceit. Now, let's move to the fourth sign: lack of empathy. Seneca once observed that humans are social creatures not meant to live solely for themselves. Empathy is the bridge that connects us, allowing us to share in others' joys and sorrows. But for truly malicious people, others are merely pawns in their selfish games. They don't genuinely care about your happiness or pain unless it serves their personal agenda. Lack of empathy is not just a bad trait. It's a glaring sign of a hollow soul. Imagine sitting across from a friend, pouring your heart out about a struggle weighing on you, only for them to dismiss it by saying, "Oh, that's nothing, let me tell you about my day." They trivialize your vulnerability. This is not a one-time act, it's a pattern. These individuals are unwilling, or worse, incapable of stepping outside their own interests to connect with your experience. Their detachment shows as cold indifference or even silent delight in your misfortunes, leaving a void where empathy should be. Empathy is not just a nice to have, it's the cornerstone of meaningful relationships. Without it, interactions become transactional, one-sided, and emotionally draining. Malicious people exploit this lack of empathy to further their selfish goals. They may fake compassion when it suits them, but their apathy becomes obvious the moment their mask slips. Marcus Aurelius wisely advised, "Stop arguing about what a good person should be. Be that person." So, what should you do when faced with such indifference? Set firm boundaries to protect your peace. Don't allow their coldness to diminish your worth. Seek relationships built on mutual respect and understanding, relationships that uplift rather than tear you down. Surround yourself with those who celebrate your joys and stand with you in sorrow, because true connection is rooted in empathy, not exploitation. Before moving on to the next sign, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you won't miss future videos. And if you love this kind of content as much as I do, comment "I see the signs" so we can keep learning together. Next is the fifth sign, the hunger for control. For an evil person, control isn't just a habit, it's their lifeline. They want to dominate everything around them, from relationships and thoughts to even the smallest decisions you make. Marcus Aurelius once said that your mind is under your control, not external circumstances. When you realize this, you discover your true strength. But this strength is exactly what malicious people seek to take away from you. Continuing from the previous sign, the hunger for control, we realize that controlling your mind is the key to ruling your entire life. I once knew someone who initially seemed trustworthy. Their advice appeared thoughtful and genuinely helpful. However, over time, a troubling pattern emerged. They began inserting subtle, undermining remarks into our conversations, casting doubt on my decisions and making me feel like I needed their guidance to make the right choices. Once, when I was considering joining an important project, they convinced me that I wasn't capable and urged me to let them take the lead. At the time, I complied because they made me doubt my own judgment. Looking back, it became clear they just wanted to keep me under their control, ensuring I would never outgrow them. People like this don't just want to influence your actions, they aim to dominate your thoughts and emotions. They use guilt, shame, or sweet words to make you dependent on them. They aren't invested in your growth. Their goal is to keep you within their grasp. Over time, you begin doubting yourself, your abilities, and your worth, causing your autonomy to erode. Epictetus wisely said that freedom is the only worthy goal in life, and that freedom comes from refusing to be controlled by what lies beyond our influence. Malicious individuals understand this well, and they will stop at nothing to imprison your mind. But you don't have to live that way. You have the right to reject their games. Ask yourself, does this align with my values? Use that question as a compass to guide your actions. Autonomy is the greatest power you possess, and it's not for anyone to take away. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that the quality of our thoughts determines the happiness of our lives. Don't let anyone shape your reality or make you question your value. Protect your mind. It is the starting point of true freedom. Those who truly care for you will never try to control you. Instead, they will empower you to make your own decisions and grow in your own way. So stand firm, hold your ground, and let your mind lead you to the freedom you deserve. Next is the sixth sign, blame games and deflection. Seneca wisely observed that people often prefer trust over judgment. This is exactly what manipulative individuals exploit to their advantage. Instead of taking accountability, they craft stories that paint themselves as victims in every situation. By blaming others and deflecting responsibility, they not only avoid consequences, but also skillfully shift the burden onto someone else. As Seneca noted, truth stands firm without justification, while lies always require elaborate stories to sustain them. Imagine dealing with someone who always evades accountability. Every time something goes wrong, they avoid admitting their mistakes and instead blame you or external circumstances. I once worked on an important project with a close friend. When things started going south, instead of owning her oversights, she was quick to criticize my organizational approach, leaving me questioning whether I was the problem. What made it worse was her subtle tone, as if she were merely offering constructive feedback. After multiple instances, continuing from the previous point, about manipulative people twisting reality and avoiding responsibility, let's explore more deeply how they master the art of blame games. I soon realized I was being manipulated into shouldering the blame for every mistake. These individuals are experts at spinning stories that distort the truth and cloud your judgment. They skillfully manipulate emotions, making you feel guilty even when the fault lies squarely with them. They exploit your sensitivity and trust, to weave a narrative where they always play the victim, and somehow you end up cast as the villain. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that truth stands firm on its own. When dealing with such people, it's crucial to keep an objective perspective and not let your emotions take control of your reactions. Staying grounded in facts is your strongest defense. Don't hesitate to question or refute their false accusations. When they attempt to shift blame, calmly but firmly demand clarity. This approach not only shields you from falling into their blame games, but also strengthens your own integrity. To handle these types of individuals, establish clear boundaries and refuse to engage in their psychological tricks designed to evade responsibility. Instead, stand firm in your truth, ensuring they cannot manipulate or distort reality. Integrity and accountability are the hallmarks of a strong character. When someone consistently refuses to take responsibility, their true nature reveals itself clearly. Your role is to protect your peace and avoid getting tangled in their games. Now let's move to the seventh sign, the pleasure of pain. One of the most unsettling traits of truly malicious people is the satisfaction they derive from the suffering of others. Epictetus wisely advised us to associate with those who make us better. Yet these individuals are not interested in growth or support. They actively seek moments to degrade others and find joy in their pain. Whether their actions are subtle or overt, this toxic pleasure is a clear warning sign that you should distance yourself. Often, this delight in others' misery begins with small, seemingly harmless actions. It could be a sarcastic remark, a mocking laugh at someone's misfortune, or a smirk of satisfaction when witnessing another's failure. Over time, these behaviors reveal their true nature. They don't strive to elevate themselves through hard work or merit, but rather by standing on the shoulders of those they tear down. I once had a friend who took a strange delight in sharing others' mistakes. One day she chuckled when a co-worker was publicly reprimanded at the office. At first I thought it was just indifference, but over time it became clear this was her way of feeling powerful. Instead of offering support or empathy, she magnified others' struggles to make herself appear superior. Seneca once said, "No man is more unhappy than one who never faces his adversity." But for such individuals, adversity isn't a lesson, it's a tool. Their joy doesn't come from meaningful achievement, but from watching others stumble. They sabotage, gossip, or intentionally cause harm, all to feed their fragile egos. Attais. The root of this behavior lies deep in insecurity. They need others to suffer so they can feel better about themselves. But this fleeting satisfaction is only a temporary mask for their inner emptiness. To counter such toxic individuals, Stoic philosophy teaches us to protect our self-worth and choose relationships that foster growth. Recognize the signs, their indifference, their enjoyment of others' pain, or their fixation on failures to feel superior. Step away from them, because every moment spent in their presence chips away at your peace and self-value. Surround yourself with those who lift you up, those who celebrate your growth instead of diminishing it. These are the people who truly respect you and encourage you to become the best version of yourself. Genuine joy is never built on the suffering of others, but on shared success and authentic relationships. Now let's move on to the 8th sign, Marcus. Aurelius once said that humans are born to cooperate. Our true strength lies in unity, shared experiences, and the encouragement of those who care for us. But for malicious people, this natural order is exactly what they want to disrupt. One of their most powerful weapons is isolation. By separating you from loved ones, friends, or support groups, they not only strip away your emotional strength, but also make you easier to manipulate and control. I once had a friend who at first seemed genuine and caring. However, over time she began making subtle negative comments about people close to me. "Your best friend doesn't really treat you well," she would say with a serious tone, or "your family doesn't understand you the way I do." At first I brushed off her remarks, thinking she was just looking out for me. But as time went on, these comments became more frequent, planting doubt and gradually distancing me from the relationships that had always been my strongest support system. Her approach was gentle but calculated, effectively isolating me from those who mattered most. This tactic is no accident. It is a deliberate psychological maneuver used by toxic individuals to sow insecurity and make you believe they are the only ones who truly care. The more isolated you become, the greater their control over you grows. But here's what they don't want you to realize. True strength comes from connection, from genuine, solid relationships. Unity is the foundation of resilience. If you start noticing feelings of loneliness or detachment from your loved ones, pause and reflect. Reevaluate the situation, trust your instincts, and don't hesitate to reach out to those who truly matter to you. Talk to friends, family, and close confidants. They are the foundation that keeps you grounded, even when life feels unstable. Stoic philosophy reminds us that we are not meant to live in isolation. We are part of a larger community and authentic. Relationships are where our true power lies, so don't let anyone convince you otherwise. Protect your connections, and you will find the strength to rise above any manipulation. Next, let's move on to the 9th sign, jealousy in disguise. Jealousy is a toxic emotion, but it becomes most dangerous when disguised as concern or goodwill. Seneca once reminded us that jealousy is the ulcer of the soul. For those who harbor it, their advice or attention is often not meant to uplift you, but rather to chip away at your confidence. These individuals cannot stand the happiness or success of others. Cloaked in seemingly helpful advice or compliments, they sow seeds of doubt about your worth. I once had a friend who always seemed deeply invested in my achievements. After I completed a major project I was incredibly proud of, she said, "That's great, but maybe next time you should push yourself a bit more to really reach a higher standard." At first I thought it was genuine advice, but upon reflection, her tone carried an undertone, a subtle cut, not to lift me up but to diminish what I had accomplished. What seemed like harmless feedback was actually a way to make me feel like I wasn't good enough. These false compliments are often mixed with remarks that undermine you. A jealous person won't attack you outright. Instead, they plant small doubts in your mind, making you question your abilities and success. They might say things like, "You did really well, but don't get too excited. There's always room for improvement." Or, "That's amazing, but I heard someone else did something similar and got even better results." This behavior is neither care nor goodwill. It's a strategy to pull you down to their level. Envious. Individuals cannot celebrate your light because it highlights the shadows within themselves. They don't want to see you thrive. They want to see you shrink so they can feel superior. Continuing from the signs of jealousy disguised as concern, we now come to the final sign, the unrepentant heart. Stoic philosophy teaches us to trust our intuition. If you sense something off in someone's praise or advice, listen to that feeling. Look deeper into the true intentions behind those seemingly harmless words. A truly kind person will lift you up, praise you sincerely, and encourage you to go further. In contrast, a jealous person uses their words as tools to control your emotions and slowly chip away at your confidence. To protect yourself, set clear boundaries and don't let anyone diminish your worth. Surround yourself with those who genuinely celebrate your success, people who not only help you shine but also push you to reach new heights. Remember, you don't need to dim your light to make others feel more comfortable. Stand firm in your value and let your light shine brightly. Now let's explore the last and clearest sign of an evil person, the unrepentant heart. Marcus Aurelius taught us that we should not waste time debating what a good person should be, but instead focus on taking action to improve ourselves. However, evil individuals often do the exact opposite. They cling to destructive habits, never admit fault, and certainly have no intention of repairing the damage they cause. They live in denial, justifying their actions with elaborate excuses, making it seem as if the problem never lies with them. Think of someone you know, a person who always has an excuse for every mistake when they hurt others. Instead of apologizing, they blame circumstances or argue that others are no better. When someone tries to explain how their behavior caused harm, they deflect, shift blame, or even accuse the other person of overreacting. What truly stands out is their complete refusal to change. To them, self-reflection and correcting mistakes are seen as weaknesses, while stubbornness is viewed as strength. This mindset sharply contrasts with Stoic philosophy. A Stoic understands that self-reflection, admitting mistakes, and making amends are not signs of weakness but of courage and self-respect. Those with unrepentant hearts not only hurt others but also reject the opportunity for personal growth and maturity. If you're close to someone who constantly justifies their actions, avoids accountability, and never seeks to repair the harm they've done, take a moment to reflect. Not everyone is willing to grow or change. Protect yourself from toxic relationships like these and invest your energy in those who lift you up. People with the courage to confront their own flaws and strive to be better. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, focus your mind on thoughts and people who elevate the quality of your life. So we've just walked through 10 clear signs that there might be an evil person lurking close to you. Chilling, isn't it? But remember, awareness is your most powerful weapon. Evil people can only manipulate you when you're unaware of their tactics. Once you recognize their strategies, you not only protect yourself, but also shield your inner peace from their chaos. Marcus Aurelius taught us that true strength lies in mastering your mind and your reactions. Don't let toxic individuals invade your mental space or disrupt your serenity. Set boundaries, stand firm, and keep shining, because your light is the very thing they fear most. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and comment "I see the signs" to let the world know you're ready to safeguard yourself from negative influences. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where your wisdom will continue to grow.